Welcome back to Growth Without Referrals. Today I'm joined by Gary Cooper, founder and owner of Cooper CPA Group based in Houston, Texas. Gary has an incredible background spanning accounting, entrepreneurship, M&A succession planning, tax strategy, and even helping companies navigate growth and transaction at a very high level. What stood out to me is Gary's perspective on entrepreneurship and his passion for helping the next generation of business owners grow smarter businesses. Gary, welcome to the show and glad to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Mark. I greatly appreciate it. Hopefully this will be meaningful for all the listeners.
Excellent. And Gary, I'd like to start with your journey because you've had such a wide range of experiences across business, finance, and leadership. How did your path into entrepreneurship and accounting originally begin?
Probably began when I was a kid, selling potholders, having a yard team, cutting grass. I was actually too short. So I'd go sell the job, and I had two guys. All right. So I'd get $4. I had to keep two and give them $1 a piece. So that started when I was like 10 years old. But when I went to college, I had, beginnings. I was the only person in my family to get a college degree. So I wasn't expected. People were making bets on when I'd flunk out of college. So went to college, and that was easy. Got through that process. And of course, went into corporate America like everybody did back in the 70s. I was very fortunate. Some of the people I worked for, Norman Brinker at Brinker International. I worked for KPMG, which at that time was Pete Marwick, and then went into corporate America, ended up landing at C-level jobs, chief financial officer, chief accounting officer, chief operating officer, took a company public as a CFO. So got to experience a lot of great things. I taught SEC reporting for 10 years to other CPAs, but I had this driving force to go out and do it myself. I didn't want to get pinned down when I was 65 years old, getting the watch and asking to be retired. And so my wife and I sat down and talked about this and said, I think I want to go start my own business. So showed up to work one Friday, emptied my desk, went out and started a CPA practice. Of course, I was making a little over $100,000 a year back in 1986 when I did this. So I felt I needed a couple of 6-packs of beer, on the way home. But when my wife got home, I didn't get killed by her. But it was a great choice. And, I actually started ground level with nothing. So all I had was the Lord and my favor going out, making something happen big. So I was able to build a CPA practice in Dallas, Texas first. On the way, I got 8 patents. I manufactured a product that I invented, distributed it to Major League Baseball, did a few other wacky things. But the main focus, which is really important for an entrepreneur who likes shiny objects, and I'm one of those people because I've veered off various paths on my way, but I found that the focus should have been on building the practice, okay? And it's something that I teach my entrepreneur clients. I do a lot of mentoring of entrepreneurs. Tell them, stay focused. Don't do as I did. Do as I say. And so I built that practice in Dallas, Texas. My wife informed me when I was 49 years old that our family was congregating to Houston and that I would be moving pretty soon. And so I had this practice in Dallas, and thank God I had a partner at that time, a business partner. And so I moved to Houston, Texas with no clients, and I had to start over at 49 years old. And so I built this practice starting at that point. On the way, I bought a practice and doubled the size of it and sold it. So, I started on the other side of the tracks, but I was blessed with the ability to go out and the diligence and the drive to build a business.
Gary, I love the story. And here's a question. What were some of the early lessons that shaped how you lead today?
Well, early lessons. I think I had a lack of focus at one time. I think I needed to really drive my focus and identify, the revenue streams that were really making money to where I could create a organization and infrastructure. I think that's one thing. However, I will say this, all the failures that I had and all the struggles that I had to go through has made me who I am as well. So those struggles and those failures and falling on my face, I'm able to mentor entrepreneurs and help entrepreneurs do things the right way and not do some of the things that I did in my humble beginnings.
Excellent. Excellent. And I agree with that. Many times we have failures, and it's how you look at those and how you learn from those and how then you can mentor others in those experiences. And Gary, the theme of this podcast is growth without referrals. And it's very interesting that you had your firm located in Dallas, and then at 49 years old, you went to Houston, right? So in accounting and professional services, having trust and a good reputation is important, but you walked into Houston and started over. How did you grow your firm based upon coming into a new market?
Very interesting. So, number one, my wife insisted that we buy a house in Memorial. Memorial is probably one of the richest areas, maybe in the country, communities. And I did it. So I bought at that time, a $650,000 house. She wanted to join the Houston Racket Club, which was a very expensive club to join. So I did that. So basically, I didn't have an escape hatch, right? I mean, it was like, I had to go out and hunt it and kill it for us to be able to have money. And I think that was a driving force. It was interesting. All I needed was like 5 hours sleep a night. And I'd be up at 3 o'clock in the morning lifting weights in my garage to get going. The thing that I did is I had all these opportunities to join a BNI group or another networking group. I formed my own networking group. And so I ended up building a network group that had over 40 members. And it was a great feeder source. So I was able to build my practice fairly quickly. I had it up to around 500,000 revenues in 3 years. And then from that, it just grew. And then before people were doing it, I started building SEO. So we built a website and we started putting content out there. We started doing a lot of blogs and a lot of content. Now, we come up on the first page of Google. We are also referred by ChatGPT as one of the 5 best CPA firms in Houston, Texas. And so our digital marketing campaign, we get over 400 new client meetings a year from our digital marketing. We also have gotten very well connected with Rice University. So the ETA conference, the Veterans Biz Battle, and we connected well, so it provides us with a lot of buy-side consulting clients from the university.
Wow. Love that you started your own networking group there. That was very, very smart from your perspective. And it sounds like it paid off in dividends. That's amazing.
And it was fun. That's the thing. I mean, you got to bring fun into your business, right? And even going over to Rice, I get to speak in the classrooms 3 or 4 times a year and doing the ETA conference and the Veterans Biz Battle was really a lot of fun and met some really great people. I think it's been hugely beneficial. So giving back and helping and assisting people and not expecting anything in return. Like my referral network, I don't take any referral. I bypassed a $150,000 referral fee a few years ago. My client a better rate. So, I think those things, giving, if you give and you're genuine, the business will come.
Absolutely. And Gary, one thing is standing out in this conversation is your focus on entrepreneurship. What do you think separates entrepreneurs who successfully scale from those who stay stuck?
Well, I think risk, being willing to take a risk. I'm willing to hire people before I even have revenues for them because I have the confidence that I can fill up their plate. I think not being scared of debt. I think you got to embrace debt. It's the cheapest capital that you can obtain and not let it weigh in on you. Realizing that you're going to go out and you're going to generate the revenue streams to pay that debt back. I think, I was blessed with purchasing my own building. Did this in 2010. I bought it for $335,000. It's worth $2 million now. So once again, taking that risk, I think hiring the right people, making sure you have the right people in place. I've got employees that's been with me as long as 21 years. So I've been really blessed with that. And, we've set up departments. So as you grow, you got to adapt. As you get up to certain revenue streams, you got to start separating out certain revenue streams and having separate focuses in the way that you market them. We turn off and on the faucet, for our bookkeeping, our tax, our consulting, our buy sell. And it's just going through that and analyzing where the information from the business is coming from and then growing that. So, but I think it's really comes down to determination, drive, endurance, and being willing to take a risk. I think are the big, big components.
Great perspective. And Gary, you've clearly spent years mentoring and educating business owners through webinars, events, and conversations. What motivates you to keep doing that?
It's a passion. There's the next generation that is going to come up and they need to be fully equipped and they need to have the knowledge and the understanding and the wisdom of how to grow a business. I'm also produce a band. I'm a drummer and I'm a singer. And I have a very good band. My guitarist is Gloria Gaynor's guitarist and harmonica player playing with Jerry Lee Lewis. But where I'm headed with this is my keyboard player is starting a business. And I'm mentoring him for free and going through all the elements of securing a lease, occupancy permit, getting his equipment, contacting his customers, the whole bit. And I find joy in that. And even, on the buy side, these searchers, mentoring them through the process of searching for businesses. I really enjoy and the Rice events, going and sharing my knowledge and speaking in front of classrooms. It's just a passion of mine to be able to give what I have and share it with others.
Great. You've also have a unique perspective because you've worked with business transactions, succession planning, and mergers and acquisitions. What do business owners misunderstand most about the value of their company?
Number one, where they're going to get beat down is the financial aspects of the business if they go through due diligence. Very, very important for them to have good books and clean records and have underlying support for that. Number two, mitigating company-specific risks. So they're unaware of, how much involvement they have in the organization, concentration of credit risk with a couple of large customers, and even same with suppliers. I was working a transaction about a decade ago, and it was a $35 million company, and they had one supplier out of Japan. And the supplier would not allow them to sell the company because they wouldn't supply anybody else. Huge credit risk, right? And so to mitigate those credit risks, you need a professional to come in. And a lot of service that we want to start now is with baby boomers coming in and help them clean up their books and records, mitigate their company's specific risks, and get them ready to sell their business. And having the right person to sell the business, I just passed a company that I was helping on a sales side consulting engagement to my old business partner where I was an investment banker, and they're marketing the business now. And now we've got a couple offers for that business because of their abilities to go out and market and dial for dollars. And now this particular client, I think it's right now priced at $6 or $7 million. So, having the right group of professionals, having a good attorney, having a good accountant, when it comes down to it, having a good investment banker assist with the sale of that business.
Okay. And what should owners be thinking about years before an exit?
That's a very important thing that we try to embody in our clients. One of the first questions I ask a new client is, where are you headed? What do you want to do? For instance, right now, F reorganizations are kind of popular with some of my clients. They can take advantage of code section 1202E, where they can exclude up to $15 million of the gain of the sale of the business or 10 times your basis. Well, this is something that has to be planned in advance because this 1202E, it starts kicking in at 3 years and then kicks fully in at 5 years. Taking advantage of certain tax laws such as that. Number two, you should basically set your business up almost like you're designing a franchise. Process, procedures all documented well, functionality, scorecards for the employees, reducing your exposure in the operations of the business, hiring the right people in place is going to get you the highest multiple.
Okay, that's great advice, Gary. Thank you. The velocity of change right now is incredible. AI, automation, changing client expectations, everything feels like it's just accelerating. What changes do you think accounting firms and entrepreneurs need to prepare for over the next few years?
Well, we're starting to employ AI. Claude is a good starting point. We have something also called Blue Jay that they use as far as our tax research. But I think it's going to really be important to embrace AI. The agents can do a lot of things as far as our profession and due diligence. They can drive that into the general ledger, and they can find things in seconds. It takes a human hours. And technology is running at a speed that most people cannot keep up with. So you got to be careful now. There's a lot of consultants out there that are making calls. Let us, do your coding. Let us create your AI for you, but you'll have to give us $25,000 up front. So you got to be cautious because you got to understand who does have the knowledge to do this. And we're looking at that. We're looking at the possibility of individual tax preparation may be overrun by AI within 5 years. So for us, we're looking at horizontal business opportunities. We're looking into business valuation. We're looking into mosaics, different revenue streams that basically not going to be affected as greatly as others by AI.
Okay. And what concerns you the most about the future?
Well, I think the political framework right now, the things that are going on overseas, the value of the dollar, inflation, it's kind of worries everybody. And what it does, it shuts business down and it shuts business growth down because people freeze. They don't want to do anything. They're afraid to spend money. They're afraid to take that risk, to go out and start a business or start another business line. And we're seeing that right now with baby boomers. So you've got all these MBA students coming out of the high-end schools, and they don't want to go to work for somebody. They want to buy a business. And so they form these search groups. And the baby boomers right now are not selling their businesses, right? Because they're closing right now. They're worried about the future. They're worried about the economy. They've got a revenue stream right now. And so they're frozen in their tracks. They're not selling their companies. Well, that is really going to uplift the economy greatly if we have that transfer of wealth, because what's going to happen is all of a sudden the baby boomers are going to have money to spend. And then you've got young people who's purchasing these businesses and they want to scale them, right? And so that needs to take place. That is going to help this country more than anything in the world could help it from the standpoint of its deficit and everything else and generating business growth.
Okay. Gary, this has been a fantastic conversation, and I really appreciate how authentic and practical your perspective is. For entrepreneurs or business owners listening today who want to learn more about Cooper CPA Group or connect with you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Okay. My email address is gcooper. The phone number, 713-243-90. And we are good communicators. If you reach out to me or reach out by that phone and ask for Maureen, we'll be glad to help you and assist you with all of your accounting, your tax, and advisory consulting needs.
Excellent. And for our listeners, I will be putting Gary's contact information in the description below in this podcast. Gary, thanks again for joining on Growth Without Referrals. We really appreciate your time.
Mark, I appreciate it, and I've really enjoyed this and would love to do it again on other topics.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.